Yes, I just saw the question from Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was your biggest coaching fail? And how did that impact you, good or bad, as a coach?
I've had a lot of failure leading workshops, like big time failures, like where I've just, did not do well, missed the point. I mean, but I also started them young too. Like, I feel like I'd be way different now we're talking my late 20s and I was leading corporate workshops. Those were, what is it? I was a Latin teacher. And the only reason I got in there is because I was working with the students of the people who, were owning these organizations. They bring me in to lead these workshops, and it was fine, but I didn't have the awareness and just didn't have the worldliness that I needed to work in that space. So there's lots of workshop failure. I'll say that. Coaching failure, I remember one in particular. I was at my first year teaching. This is in Southern Oregon. I go to a first year teaching workshop, weekend retreat. It was amazing. Made lots of great connections. I had started coach training and I asked everyone to be a practice client for me for a couple sessions. A lot of people said yes. And so I had these back-to-back meetings, these back-to-back coaching sessions stacked up right when I was, right from the get-go. I was super excited about this, gained lots of experience. But I was so bad, so bad. I was trying to solve stuff, trying to prove the value of coaching, trying to do all of the usual things that I hear new coaches do. And I just remember feeling so painful, it was almost like arguing with my clients, in weird ways. And then I had back to back, just 3 in a row, just one thing that really helped was having some sort of tool that I was looking at, doing a wheel of life, or at least something there, that was to distract from the horribleness of those sessions. But I think I really quickly realized that I had to get over the sense of trying to prove coaching's value. I just got better at it. I just got more experience. I just mucked my way through it. There was no elegance in that. It was messy. I think though that period of time was probably my biggest concentration of coaching fail. But I didn't stop. And that was big. So I think as long as coach fail away, just don't stop.
Yeah, very similar. When I first started out. Yeah, that push against trying to prove the worth. I mean, I had a couple of things when I first started out. And one, I just wasn't very good at setting boundaries as well when I was initially looking for clients. So you name it, I've done it, posting on social media 6 times a day and setting up click funnels and inviting people to engage and then offering them coaching, and didn't really fully know what I was doing. And then, inviting somebody into a complimentary session and feeling that pressure because business was new and I'd moved from the UK and I wasn't really making any money, and I wanted to prove my value at home and prove my value outside and make it worthwhile that I'd left the UK to follow the American dream. So I had all this personal stuff, pressure going on around adding value, and then not really being very good at setting boundaries as well. And I remember some of those initial coaching calls and feeling that pressure. I'd offer an hour complimentary session, and it was like a test for myself to try and convert this person into a session. I wasn't really coaching. And then when I did convert them, it wasn't that bad at converting. The accent worked very well, but then getting them in and trying to keep them in. My price points were so off. They just weren't, they were so high. I'd worked with a business coach, they were ridiculous. So that added all those layers of pressure of me feeling that this person's got to get just the world from this session. So yeah, big big fails. I mean, I also had a couple of businesses, well, probably 3 or 4 partnerships, coaching partnerships that didn't work, outright fail, non-profit. But for me, there's no failure, there's only feedback. And I wouldn't be sitting here right now being able to talk about it, I think, if I hadn't gone through it.
Yeah, I'm thinking back, what got me through, right? That's an interesting question. Like, what gets you through horrible coaching, like periods of horrible, bad coaching sessions? Well, I think the pure pragmatic that got me through is I needed to get my coaching hours to get the certification. Like, I think there's that, like, if I'm being completely transparent, thinking back to the period of time. Also too, I knew what the impact of coaching was on me. I experienced good coaching, so I knew it could be good. That was extremely helpful and instrumental through this whole process, was understanding, wow, this is the impact on me. It's part of the reason why we designed the coach training program the way it is, where there's so much emphasis on you being coached in the coach training. So you know what it's like when what it feels like when a coaching is good or bad, and what about it? Because it's surprising. I was just, trying out new coaches. It was almost like the coach I went with was the coach who said the fewest words in their sample sessions. Like, Melissa and I were just joking how we really want our coaches to only ask us in an hour-long session. I only need maybe 3 questions or 4 questions in an hour. I'll just talk. I'll just keep going. And I'll just go. I just process. And it's what I need. That is just what I need as a client, is just space. I will fill it. And maybe like a little nudge here and there, but that's it. And I feel like that's what the world needs. We just need space. Literally, we're paid to listen. We're paid listeners. Like that, but it's an art form. And part of the art form is not having restrictive, limiting beliefs when you're listening. And it seems like, oh, that should be easy. That should be, but it's way, way harder than it seems and looks. And what's wild to me is I can totally 100% tell when the coach I'm working with, when they have an idea of what I'm saying that feels limiting, I can almost feel the energy in the air between that. And I don't know what it is. It might be the tone of their voice when they ask the question, the next question, or even the direction of the question, or whatever it is. That to me is such a, it's almost like it's just like a no-go zone. It's like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need someone to listen who sees possibility way bigger than I can even see it. And it's again, I mean, if we're going full circle back to the beginning of this, it's a lot like this idea of coming up with a mission for your organization or for your work. Come up with a mission that's big, it's bold, that's going to make a difference. And can you hold that and do all the logistical nitty gritty and get your hands in the dirt at the same time? Like, can you do both of those things? It's like having the vision of the garden and also getting, not being afraid of worm castings. Like, both of those things need to be at the same time. It's a lot like that as a coach. Like, you need to be able to listen with the big vision, and then when the nitty gritty comes, to ask a question that's so center to the client's experience that they have to go to that level deeper. That to me is like, when coaches can do that, it's wow. It's a wow, and I feel like that's what we need. And so it's way more centered on the listening than you saying anything. It took me a really long time to figure that out, but I'm hoping the design of, and that is the central idea that I want to, like, I feel like I go to great lengths to try to get that idea across in the training. It's way more about your listening than it is about your talking, when you're the coach.